Hey guys, so if you haven't seen any of my videos, just go down to my channel and they will all be there. But let's get into it. Sorry, crazy people, I'm outside. But so while I was doing the previous video that I did, I realized that I forgot to tell you what happened beforehand, like in between, because I skipped. But I'm just gonna fill it in here. So after I took the pregnancy test and after I went to the doctor to confirm that I was indeed pregnant, they didn't really tell me much. They were just like, it looks like you're pregnant. You could be pregnant. Like, there's a possibility for a pregnancy. That's what they said. They were like, it's in the works for a pregnancy, but we can't see a heartbeat. We can't see a baby. We can't see anything. So, you have to come back in when you're 7 weeks. So that was like a month away because they're like, you're about 3 weeks now. So, I was excited. My husband was, I guess, meh, whatever. And I was like, one day I was like, oh shit, like, I gotta start this job. And I'm like, do I tell them that I'm pregnant or do I not tell them that I'm pregnant? Like, what do I do at this moment? And I was just like, I don't know. So I ended up talking to my sister. And I talked to her and I was like, dude, I got something to tell you. She's like, what? And I'm like, I'm pregnant. And she's like, oh my God, I'm so excited. And she's like, did you tell mommy yet? And I'm like, no. And she's like, what are you waiting for? Just go tell her. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to tell her. Like, I'm like nervous. Like, I don't want to tell her. Because remember, like, my mom, if you haven't seen these videos, but they're down below, but my mom was not on board when we were getting married. And she was just like, my kids are like a disappointment or whatever, some dumb shit. And then she was just like, whatever. Anyway. So I was just like, I know I've always wanted to be a mom. Like, I've always wanted to have kids. As you know, in my previous videos, I wanted to be a teen mom. If you haven't seen that, it's down below. But my mom was very work orientated. I'm more family orientated because she just thinks that, kids were just like, she could have done without having kids. I'm just like, says the person who has like 3 kids, like, really? But she is very work orientated and she didn't get that in her life, so she wants us to get that. My sister had a baby out of wedlock and things like that. So I'm like, she might be a little bit happier, but I always fantasize that, you see those videos and like they're like, telling their parents that they're pregnant, they like jump for joy and they're like, oh my God, I'm gonna be a grandma, like that. I knew I wasn't gonna get that, but I kind of hoped that she would be like, oh my God, I'm so happy, congratulations, like that. So anyway, my sister was like, oh, I'm gonna call her right now. I'm like, oh, go ahead, call her. So she called her and she put her on 3-way and she's like, Vanessa, tell mommy what you gotta tell her. And I'm like, so, Mom, I'm pregnant. And she's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, I'm pregnant. And she's like, oh, what are you gonna do? You didn't start your job yet. And I'm like, what? And she's like, I'm like, do I tell them or whatever? And she was like, I don't think you should. Like, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna not work anymore? Or like, she was like doing it like that. And I was just like, I don't know. And so I don't like, for me, I don't know why I do this, but I always kind of want my parents' approval, but at the same time, I don't give a fuck. But the way she was saying it, she made me feel like I've ruined my life, honestly. She's like, you're supposed to start this job. Like, what's going on and things like that. Now you're pregnant. They don't want pregnant people at jobs and all that shit. And I was just like, I don't know. I was like, I'm so early. Like, I could have a miscarriage, like, and that was going through my mind too. But I was just like, it's early or whatever. Like, why are you doing that? Like, why are you bringing me down and stuff? And she was just like, oh, I don't know, but I'm just saying, like, you just graduated and blah, 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 and this, that, and third. And I'm just like, you know what? Bye. Like, get off my phone. Leave me alone. And I was just like, she was just like, oh, well, it's between you and your husband, and blah, blah, blah. Because I'm just like, the way she made me feel, like, I literally, I said to her, I was like, maybe I don't want the pregnancy, like that. And she's like, oh, well, it's up to you and your husband, blah, 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 blah. Deep down, though, I wanted this pregnancy. I wanted my baby, and I'm going to keep my baby. Like, the fuck are you? But that's how my mom was. That's how she reacted. My dad was more supportive, even though, like, my mom said that he wasn't. He was just like, oh, I can't believe, like, he said it to her, like, oh, I can't believe she did this so early. But my dad was like, oh, he was very supportive, like, to me. And I like that more. Like, I get the honesty, like, in front of my face. But I'm pregnant. I'm telling you I'm pregnant. Don't just start talking about the job or career or whatever. When I told my dad that I was having a baby, I was like, I'm pregnant. He's like, oh, okay, well, babies are a blessing. And, I wish you would have, spread it out. You just graduated. You're just getting this job. You just got married last year. So, like, not even a year. We weren't in a year yet. And he was just like, I wish you would have spread it out. But, babies are always a blessing. So, I'm happy for you and things like that. And I like that reaction better. But that was my side of the family. Okay. Now, we told his dad and his grandma, from my husband's dad and grandma. And honestly, I think that really brought her spirits up, because remember, John's grandfather passed away that March, like the end of March. And I found out I was pregnant by the end of June. So she was very sad a couple of the months. Like, a couple months, like April, May, people came around. But by the time June started, she was by herself all the time. I was still in school, so I was out of the house. John was working. His dad was working. So, like, everyone, it was just her by herself. And that's what was kind of sad. And so when we finally told her, she was so excited. She gave the reaction that I wanted. She was excited from the start. She was like, oh my God, I'm going to be a great grandma. And she was just super excited. It was super excited. And, his dad was excited too. He was like, wow, and we gave them the ultrasound. We waited until we got an ultrasound and heard the heartbeat, because I knew that his grandma would be super excited. And they both framed it. He framed it. He still has a framed picture of it. And he bought it, and then he was very excited. So, I can't knock them. Sometimes, sometimes I don't really like his dad. Like, his personality is not really, like, clashes with mine. But he's a cool dude, And he was very supportive and very kind, and he was excited. And my parents, my mom just wasn't. But that was how I told people that we were pregnant. I mean, well, I told my friends that we were pregnant. I brought all my friends together and I bought this shirt that said, oh, like coming soon or whatever, and I had a baby's feet. And we went out to brunch and I, told them, and I asked my friends if they would be the godparents. And they were so excited. And then when we, in August, we waited until August to make me come out of the first trimester. And then we announced it to the world. So, yeah, that's pretty much how we told everyone. I hope you guys like this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell button down below. And we'll chat. Peace.